Welcome to Movie Q, the show where we talk about good movies, bad movies, queer cinema, and human trafficking. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Paul Kazee, our resident film festival expert, and we're going to get a clue and also take a spin on the Reel of Destiny. I'm Justin Rivers alongside Catherine Stevens. And Catherine, let's talk about Clue.
Let's. I love Clue.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So Clue, for people who may not have seen it on cable in the 1990s or reruns on Fox, Clue is a 1985 film. It was written and directed by Jonathan Lynn, who is probably more famous for writing and directing My Cousin Vinny and Nuns on the Run. So let's talk about Clue. When was the first time you saw it, and how did that impact you?
Well, all right. I had strep throat after getting my tonsils out, and my mom was tired of having to take care of me, so she put Clue on. They illegally recorded it off of TV. I was so obsessed with it, I watched it over and over again, and I made everybody I knew watch it with me. And I just thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And I still honestly do.
Then he threw him into the toilet! And nonchalantly rejoined us beside the cook's body in the kitchen. It took less than half a minute.
So who wasn't there the entire time in the kitchen?
Whoever it was is the murderer.
I've seen a lot of funny stuff. That movie's still funny.
The thing that's kind of cool about it is that it's a very transgressive film, but it's not so in a way that makes it unwatchable for younger viewers. So it talks about serious things. It talks about sex, violence, and other really adult topics, but it doesn't have any nudity and it doesn't have any swearing.
Right. I mean, I wish there was nudity in my adulthood.
Me too.
Not when I was 8. I would have been too scared.
Good point.
Yeah. But I did, what did you like about it?
Well, I really like the fact that it's a dark comedy.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. I am your singing telegram.
And it's not a story that people relate to one particular character. It's because it's a dark comedy, you're relating to the authorial voice.
Right.
And the characters are a certain amount of distance between you. So it has a point to it. And I love how it also is taking that classic Agatha Christie style drawing room mystery and turning it on its head. It's got the farcical element, it's got the drawing room mystery structure to it, and then it takes it into this totally anarchic, very fast-paced, almost a screwball comedy like mannerism.
And Mr. Body went to get his surprise packages from the hall. And you all opened your presents. Mr. Body switched out the lights. Ah!
Well, it's filled with comedic actors. You have Michael McKean, Madeline Kahn, Tim Curry. I mean, I could go on. And Christopher Lloyd with brown hair. So it's sort of, my introduction to any sort of comedy came from that movie. Because that was the first movie I'd really seen and really watched and studied, from that point on, all those actors were from Clue. Christopher Lloyd was not from Back to the Future. Michael McKean was not from Spinal Tap. They were all from Clue.
Right, and Christopher Lloyd was just a year ahead of Back to the Future, too. So a year later was Back to the Future, and that's where he became a huge star. So he was really cast from Taxi.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And the movie, the bummer is Clue was a flop when it came out.
Yeah, it did terrible.
Yeah.
But that's almost a good thing because it was such a cheap commodity that they could rerun it all the time on Fox, mainly in the afternoons. And so a lot of people got to watch it, and it's really turned around. Critics hated it when it was released. It had the 3 different endings, and you had to go to a different movie screening to watch a different ending, and that was kind of a terrible fiasco. But then, now as it was being rerun and people were watching it, kids were watching it, it suddenly become a cult film.
I have something to say. I'm not going to wait for Wadsworth here to unmask me. I work for the State Department, and I'm a homosexual.
And something that we talked about previously was that the way it handled sexuality was definitely PG, PG-13 even, but they out a character. Mr.
Yeah,
Green gets
Mr. Green.
his blackmail is that he's a homosexual.
Yeah, Mr. Green's gay.
What?
Ah!
Oh, I didn't know what homosexual meant when I watched it.
No, me either. Yeah. He gets up and he literally stands in front of all the different characters and says, I am a homosexual. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if people, because it was set in the 1950s,
Yeah.
but if people know, then I lose my job.
Right. which is honestly still true today. Sadly, like people in
Yeah.
the CIA, he was in the FBI, so people in high security situations can't be gay because it's still used as a tactic to blackmail. And then that line about I thought they called people like you a fruit. I mean, I never got that joke. I'd make all these adults watch it, and they would laugh, and I would ask them why. One babysitter said, "You have to ask your parents." She refused to explain it to me.
Yeah, the kids pick up on, when you're a kid, you pick up on the dog poo through line. And then later on, you get the references to McCarthyism. Yeah. But that comes later.
Much, much later. Until then, you just laugh at everybody stinking up their shoes.
It's also got this Rocky Horror connection, too. Not just because of Tim Curry, but because it's this really kind of subversive and quietly transgressive comedy. And like the Shadowcasts in Los Angeles, for example, Sins of the Flesh, they do a Rocky Horror Night Shadowcast every Friday at midnight. And once a year they do a Clue one as well, and it's hugely popular.
Well, we do the ICFS sing-alongs. It came from Schenectady sing-alongs, and we have a second one. The second one's Little Shop of Horrors. When we did Labyrinth, everybody spoke the entire movie. They didn't just sing along with the songs; they spoke the entire movie. I don't see why we couldn't do that with Clue.
I think it's definitely possible.
Oh my God, flames on the side of my face, heaving. I could do it all. I could do it all right here.
Which was like the only improvised line, too, in the script.
That was improvised?
Yeah.
Oh, she's brilliant. May she rest in peace.
Yes, I did it. I killed Yvette. I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, heaving breaths.
The other stuff I liked about Clue, the soundtrack's actually pretty fun. You know?
Yeah.
It's great rockabilly, rocking around the clock. You know the scene where they're all making out with dead people?
Oh, life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love, life could be a dream, sweetheart.
I love that song. I'd watch that scene over and over again.
It's a great song, yeah.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is self-aware, too. It knows what it's doing, and it knows where it's propelling people.
The nose knows.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite movies. In Q-Fest, it would probably be a long shot to show it in Q-Fest under the umbrella of queer cinema, because it's really not.
Yeah.
It's just campy.
All right, who done it?
You did it.
They all did it! But if you want to know who killed Mr. Body, I did. In the hall. With the revolver. Okay, Chief, take him away. I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
So how many fingers would you give Clue in our rating system?
I would give Clue 5 fingers, a 5-fingered salute.
I absolutely give it a 5-fingered salute as well. 5. I have all 5 fingers, all 5.
It's that good.
Yeah, maybe even 2 5s, but I know it only goes to 5. Maybe this can go to 11.
Our guest today is Mr. Paul Kazee, who's the co-founder of ICFS, that's It Came From Schenectady Events at Proctor's, and also our resident film festival expert. Paul?
Wow, an expert. I
You
like
are.
that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Paul, you've been going on the rounds to a bunch of different film festivals this year. What makes a good festival?
Well, I think film selection kind of helps a little bit, but beyond the films and I mean, I think presentation has a lot to do with the success of a film festival. When I first started going to festivals many years ago, they were like going to a museum or going to a class, and it was great. I mean, I learned a lot. Learned to appreciate film as an art, as a way of communicating ideas, advancing a social agenda. But the audiences were not enjoying themselves. There was the festive part of the festival was gone, and I think many film festivals have changed with the times a bit and gotten more festive. So I like festivals where there's a bit of show. The organizers, like here at It Came From Schenectady, get up and engage the audience, have fun, have contests, make people feel comfortable, like they're there to enjoy themselves, and maybe you sneak a little education in or a little art in, but don't make them feel like they're there to be lectured to.
Yeah, that's what I love about the ICFS events. There's a sense of community.
Yeah, I think so. It's, we put out the sofas and stuff and have people, tell people they can let their hair down and put their feet up. And basically, it's like being invited to a party with a couple hundred of your friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the flip side of bad festivals then, like a museum programming, basically.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say they're necessarily bad. I mean, it depends on your audience.
That's true.
For me, the only thing that's, I love festivals. I've been to 5 of them in the last 3 months. But what's difficult about a festival, the larger festivals that are in several different venues, is if you have to travel 45 minutes from one venue to the next, you miss movies because you're too much time traveling.
So it helps to have it in a concentrated area.
Yeah, having a concentrated area or have things scheduled in such a way that you can actually make it to the other event, after seeing something in the first venue.
So it sounds like you've seen a lot of movies in the last couple of months. What are some of the highlights? What are you excited about?
Well, 3 films, if I may, that I saw in the last couple of months that I really liked. One was the documentary "I Am Divine," about Divine, and they interview his mother, John Waters, Mink Stoll, Hollywood Lawn, and it's really just a really, I think, incisive and in-depth look at this character, Divine. I really enjoyed that a lot. Another one is called Animals. It's a Spanish film, and unfortunately, you can't really talk about it without giving too much away. But it's sort of a coming-of-age, searching for identity, sexual and otherwise, film. And I need to say it's about a boy, another boy, a talking teddy bear, and a girl with manly features.
All right.
But probably my favorite film that I've seen, and I hope that it gets some sort of release. Most of the films at these festivals are not yet released. They're shopping them for an American distributor. But I think by far the best one I saw is called The Dirties. And it's made from in Canada. It's about some kids that are bullied, and they're filmmakers, media. They have a media club, and they're sort of nerdish, but they decide to make a film in which they take revenge on the people that are bullying them. And it's a comedy, although it gets serious and more darker as the film goes on. And the thing is, one of the kids doesn't really believe that it gets better. And he starts planning he's a serious filmmaker. He plans things. He gets the blueprints to the school. He learns how firearms actually work. And gets to the point where his friend is like, oh, maybe this is not just a film. Maybe this guy's going to follow through and actually start killing people in our school. So it's a fun movie and a serious film at the same time.
Wow, really cool.
Yeah.
So Paul, we're just about out of time. I'm just wondering, you traveled to a bunch of different places kind of far away. What are some places locally or in the region that we can go to see some of these types of films?
Of course, here at Proctor's, we've got It Came From Schenectady and the AFI series, the American Film Institute, 100 Best Films. But the Saratoga Film Forum does some terrific programming up there. Down in Hudson, there's a place called Time Space Limited that does fantastic stuff. And the Palace actually has a series that's some good stuff coming up in the next 2-3 months. And if you're willing to go down to Poughkeepsie, there's a great thing down there called the Hudson Horror Show.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, Paul, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Venus in Fur, the Tony Award-winning Broadway smash, only at Capitol Repertory Theater.
Welcome to our portion of the show where we spin the Reel of Destiny. Today, Justin is our contestant. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Catherine.
Okay, spin the Reel of Destiny. That's a good spin. Good spin.
It's green.
That's blue.
Blue?
Let's make it blue. Okay, so you are going to have to put in order of release date these movies starring Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd. Oh my God, I'm in love with Paul Rudd. Okay.
I know who that is.
Have you seen Anchorman?
Maybe?
A poster of it?
I heard about it one time.
Okay, great. So, yes. So here we have Night of the Museum, Clueless, Anchorman, Knocked Up, The Cider House Rules. What was released first?
Okay, I've not actually seen any of these movies. So I'm going to say Clueless.
Okay, yes, you're correct.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Sweet.
Clueless.
All right. Cider House Rules.
That's your second guess?
Yeah.
Okay, you're correct.
Oh, sweet.
Are you a ringer?
No, I don't know who this guy is.
All right. Okay.
He's not like an old British man, so like I have no idea.
Okay, I'll remember that for next time. All right, so we have Clueless and The Cider House Rules.
He was never on Doctor Who. I have no frame of reference.
Okay.
Knocked
Next.
Up, Anchorman, Night at the Museum.
No.
Bam!
I need my cheat sheet. It goes Clueless, Cider House Rules, Night at the Museum. Nope, Cider House Rules, Anchorman, Night at the Museum, and Knocked Up.
I think it should be Clueless, Knocked Up, Cider House Rules, Anchorman, and Night at the Museum.
Okay, well, that can be your reality. This is that reality.
He was an Anchorman?
Yeah, he was an Anchorman. He had a big bushy mustache.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for that.
That's him. That's Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Okay?
Do I get a prize?
You will. Another spin on the Reel of Destiny another day.
Oh, great.
Well, thank you for joining us on Movie Q this time. Next time we'll talk about film festivals, John Waters, and what it means to be campy.
I know Paul Rudd.